She won't forget the man who never begged for her attention. She won't forget the man who stayed calm when she tried to test him. And she will never ever forget the man who carried himself with quiet strength. Women meet hundreds of guys in their life. Funny ones, charming ones, even rich ones. But the man who stands out, the one she keeps thinking about long after he's gone, is the man who acts differently. Not louder, not needier, different. So, let me show you exactly what that man does and why psychology says she'll carry his memory like a shadow she can't shake off. 1. The calm presence. Imagine this. A woman throws a little attitude your way. Maybe she takes hours to reply to your text. Maybe she sighs at dinner and says nothing's wrong, even though her face screams the opposite. Most men, they panic, they overthink, they try to fix her mood immediately, like it's their job. But here's the truth. She doesn't remember those men. They all blur together. The man she never forgets is the one who stays calm, the one who doesn't get pulled into her storm. He sits across the table, looks her in the eye, and his energy says, "I'm not shaken." That calmness is powerful because it feels rare. Psychology calls this emotional regulation, but really it's just self-control. When a man can manage his own emotions instead of being tossed around by hers, it creates a deep contrast. She feels like she's testing the waters, throwing little waves at him, but he's the ocean. He doesn't budge. This doesn't mean he's cold or emotionless. In fact, it's the opposite. He can still laugh, still listen, still show empathy, but he doesn't lose himself in her mood swings. He doesn't chase her approval like oxygen. That balance between presence and self-control is unforgettable. Picture this. A woman's had a stressful day. She comes home with sharp words, short replies. One man takes it personally. He argues, raises his voice, demands, answers. Another man ignores her completely, walks away in silence. Both of those men get forgotten, but the man she remembers. He calmly listens, doesn't match her chaos, and quietly makes her a cup of tea. No lecture, no panic, just grounded presence. Why does it stick with her? Because it makes her feel safe. Safety is not just about locks on doors or money in the bank. For a woman, safety is about emotions. Can she trust you not to lose yourself when life throws shade? Can she relax knowing you won't collapse at the first sign of pressure? This is why women hold on to the memory of calm men. Even years later, she might think, he never raised his voice, he never panicked, he was just steady. That steady energy leaves an imprint. So here's the point. If you want to be unforgettable, don't join her storm. Be the anchor. Don't over-explain. Don't argue. Don't get pulled into emotional tug-of-war. Instead, breathe, stay grounded, and let her see that nothing can rattle you. She won't say it out loud, but inside, she'll feel it. And trust me, she'll never forget it. 2. The man who walks away when needed. Now let's talk about something that really leaves a mark on a woman's memory. The man who walks away when respect is missing. Most men can't do it. They stay even when they're ignored, mistreated, or pushed aside. They beg for another chance, hoping to win her back. But the man who knows when to walk away, he's the man she keeps replaying in her mind. Walking away isn't about being cruel. It's not revenge. It's about self-respect. Think about it. When you refuse to stay where you're not valued, you're saying with actions what many men can't say with words. My dignity matters more than your approval. And here's the twist. That choice flips the power dynamic. Instead of you chasing her, she's left with unanswered question. So why didn't he fight harder? Why didn't he need me? Those thoughts circle in her head long after you're gone. Psychology calls this the Sadia effect. We remember unfinished stories more than completed ones. When you walk away without begging, you become her unfinished story. Imagine 2 men. One begs, "Please don't leave me, I'll change." He texts paragraphs, floods her inbox, waits outside her house. The other says calmly, "I understand." If this isn't working for you, I won't force it. Then he steps back, disappears, moves on with his life. Guess which one she'll remember at 3:12 a.m. months later? Not the beggar, the man who respected himself enough to walk away. Women test men, often without even realizing it. They test to see if he'll lose himself for her, and the man who can't walk away fails that test. But the man who does, he earns a permanent space in her memory because he showed her something different. Strength without noise. It's not about coldness either. A man who walks away can still care deeply. He can still love. But love without self-respect isn't love. It's slavery. And no woman forgets the man who loved her enough to stay true to himself. So don't fear losing her. Fear losing yourself. Because the man who can walk away even when it hurts is the man she can't erase. 3. The man who gives without keeping score. Here's something most men get wrong. They think giving is about grand gestures, buying gifts, paying bills, taking her on fancy trips. Sure, those things get noticed, but they don't make you unforgettable. What makes a man unforgettable is how he gives without expecting anything back. Think about it. Most giving is conditional. I'll do this for you, but you better appreciate me. Or I gave you this, now you owe me affection. That's not giving, that's bargaining. And women can feel the difference. The man she never forgets is the one who gives because it's who he is, not because he wants to control her. Reaction. He listens when she talks about her day. He notices she's tired and cooks a simple meal. He offers his Jack. When it's cold, not to score points, but because it's natural for him. These small acts may look ordinary, but they carry weight. Why? Because they're rare. Most men either overdo it, trying to buy love, or they keep a hidden scoreboard in their mind. But genuine giving feels free, and that freedom makes her memory hold on to you like glue. Picture this. A woman remembers the guy who once surprised her with flowers. Not because of the flowers, but because he remembered her. Favourite ones after she casually mentioned it weeks ago. She remembers the man who stayed up late to help her study. Not because he wanted something, but because he cared years later. She may not remember the expensive gifts, but she'll remember those small, selfless moments. Psychology says we are wired to recall emotions more than details. She remembers how you made her feel. If your giving made her feel seen, safe, and cared for without strings attached, that's unforgettable. But don't get it twisted. This doesn't mean being a pushover. Giving without score is not the same as giving away your self-respect. It's about intention. You give freely, but you also know your value. You don't beg for validation after giving. You don't remind her, remember when I did this for you? You let it go. And because you don't demand recognition, she feels it more deeply. She thinks he didn't need anything back. He just cared. That kind of energy stays with her for life. So here's the lesson. Be the man who gives from strength, not from fear. Because the man who gives without keeping score is the man she never forgets. 4. The man who keeps his mystery. Now let's get real about mystery. Women may enjoy attention, but they don't forget the man who doesn't give it all away too soon, the man who leaves space, the man who makes her wonder. See, when you reveal everything at once, your fears, your plans, your history, you think you're building closeness, but what you're really doing is ending the story before it begins. There's nothing left for her to discover, and what's fully known gets taken for granted. The unforgettable man holds back a little, not in a manipulative way, just naturally. He doesn't explain every decision. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't text back instantly with paragraphs. He gives her enough to feel seen, but not enough to solve the puzzle. Psychology explains this through curiosity gaps. Our brains crave closure, but when closure is missing, we obsess. A man who keeps a little mystery lives in her head run-tree. She wonders where he is, what he's doing, what he's thinking, and that wondering keeps her hooked. Think of it like a movie. The ones you remember aren't the ones that spelled everything out in the first 10 minutes. The ones you remember kept you guessing. They revealed pieces slowly. They left you thinking after the credits rolled. That's how a man should be, revealing, but never fully revealed. Imagine she texts you, "What are you up to?" One guy replies instantly, Nothing, just lying on the couch, watching TV. End of story, forgettable. Another replies, just working on something important. That small vagueness sparks curiosity. She wonders what it is, she asks. He gives a little, more but not all. That's how the memory grows. Mystery isn't about playing games. It's about pacing. It's about letting her discover you in layers. Because when a woman feels like there's always more to uncover, she can't forget you. And here's the secret. Mystery also shows strength. A man who doesn't overshare is a man who is comfortable with himself. He doesn't need to explain everything to be liked. He lets silence do its work. That silence is magnetic. So don't be afraid to hold back. Don't rush to fill every silence. Let her lean in. Let her wonder. Because when she does, you'll stay in her mind long after you're gone. So here's what you need to remember. A woman may meet 1,000 faces in her life. Men who try too hard. Men who talk too much. Men who give with strings attached. And she will forget them one by one. They fade from her memory like writing on sand. But she never forgets the man who stood out, the man who carried himself differently. She never forgets the man who stayed calm when everyone else lost control. She never forgets the man who had the strength to walk away when his respect wasn't valued. She never forgets the man who gave from his heart, not from his fears. And she never forgets the man who kept just enough mystery to keep her curious. Why? Because these things are rare, and what is rare gets remembered. Think about it. If you look back at your own life, the people who stay in your mind aren't always the loudest. They're the ones who made you feel something different. They carried a kind of energy that didn't try to force itself on you. It just lingered. That's exactly how it works in female psychology. And this is where so many men get it wrong. They think being unforgettable is about proving themselves, more gifts, more words, more attention, more chasing. But in truth, it's the opposite. It's not about doing more. It's about doing less, but with deeper intention, calmness instead of panic, respect instead of begging, giving instead of bargaining, mystery instead of oversharing. These are the traits that carve your name into her memory. And here's the beauty. You don't need to fake any of this. You don't need tricks or lines. You just need to build yourself into the kind of man who doesn't need approval to feel valuable. When you live like that, when you breathe like that, she feels it. And even if she walks away, even if life takes you both in different directions, her mind will go back to you. Maybe years later, maybe when she's alone at night, maybe when she meets another man and feels something missing, she'll remember. Because unforgettable men are not remembered for what they said. They're remembered for how they carried themselves. So be that man, not for her, not for anyone else, but for yourself. And when you do, trust me, she'll never forget you.